Alright, so this is going to be an interesting video, and I'm certainly looking forward to reading the comments on it. The question is, will it be more controversial than my tier list of ranking every single champion in League of Legends based on whether or not I could win a fist fight versus him? This is ranking every champion in League of Legends based on how toxic their one-trick ponies are. So, have fun with this one. It's my opinion, keep that in mind. And as always, enjoy the video, subscribe to the channel for more awful shenanigans, give the video a comment and a little like for the algorithm, and I'll see you later. So like, the last tier list that we did was, it went over very well. I don't know if anybody remembers it. It was ranking every champion in League of Legends based on whether or not I could beat them in a fist fight. It was a lot of fun. A lot of controversial opinions in that one. I don't know if this is going to be more or less controversial. I think it might actually be more controversial, to be honest, but nevertheless, we're going to run with it anyway. I wanted to rank every single champion in League of Legends based on their one-trick ponies. So like, anybody that one-tricks a champion, you will be judged today, and we're gonna have a rough time, I imagine. Of course, this is all gonna be personal opinions. So this is always gonna be like whether or not I've had a good experience with the people that have played this champion. So we got happy to have them on our team. Any champion that's a one trick that I'm like, yeah, that's totally fine. I'm actually okay with that. We got the Chill, who is the mains that I have no real major opinion of, but like I never ever see them piping up in chat. Surprisingly fine. Champions that are like characteristically quite angry but end up actually being for the most part fairly alright. Ashamed to admit that they're a one trick up that champion, which you'll soon find. Surprisingly toxic, which is champions that you like are not mechanically necessarily complex. However, the people that play them seem to put a lot of weight into the fact that they play that champion, and it's apparently very, very important that they let people know that. And then also Yasuo or below, so like you're, you know. You know. This video was sponsored by Command. Command is MyProtein's new gaming nutrient brand. You may have noticed that I have been wearing some MyProtein stuff recently. Well, they recently released some nootropics tubs alongside some energy drink cans. And if you go to teamcommand.com and use the code ROSSBOOM, you can get 20% off. Now, what are they? Well, the nootropic tubs over there are in powder form. You put it in some water. Got some A vitamins, some B vitamins, and most importantly, caffeine. Cans are incredibly similar, except they're just carbonated. They don't have any sugar in them, so you're not going to get sugar crash. And as opposed to coffee, it also doesn't run straight through me. They've got a bunch of flavors, but I'm just going to recommend it because it's my favorite. The grape flavor cans, the carbonated cans, I bought like 2 crates of them. If you like Japanese grape candy, if you've ever been to Japan, you've ever had some of those like little berry grape things that explode in your mouth and are just like the most grapey thing ever, purple sweets, you'll absolutely adore this. This very much reminds me of that, and I love it very much, and I've bought multiple cans of this myself. And you can too if you use ROSSBOOM for 20% off at teamcommand.com with the link in the description. Go check it out. They have been supporting the channel and I greatly appreciate it. Regardless, enjoy the video. Have a fantastic day. I feel like Aatrox mains don't necessarily talk that much. All the Aatrox mains that I've ever seen, or people that play Aatrox that are toxic, don't tend to be the one tricks of them. By the way, I should mention Viego isn't on this one. I think he's a little bit too new. Like, you could argue one way or the other between these two. Like, I've played a lot of Ahri, and I don't think I'm that toxic as well. She's like my third most, I think she's like one of my most played champions. So let me check actually. Oh, it's gone, dude. Janna overtook Ahri, dude. Never mind. Akali, see, like, I'm torn because I don't think it's surprising if an Akali main is toxic, but I want to put her in Yasuo or below. I think maybe she deserves to be. I don't think anybody that mains one tricks Akali. I mean, Professor Akali, he's toxic as hell, so maybe we put him in Yasuo or below. You'll notice like a bit of a pattern here. Any champion that is like super flashy or like has a lot of mechanics that people like to play to impress others at the fact that they can play this champion are going to be generally the ones that, for some reason, I have no idea why, by the way, but like attract like a lot of people that are not necessarily very cordial, you know? Alistar mains, honestly, happy to have him. I'm totally fine with having an Alistar main in my game. They're toxic to the enemy team, don't get me wrong. They'll pick Moo Cow Alistar and they'll start smacking that bell to taunt the enemy team. But like, I don't think they necessarily like are a toxic breed of human being. Amumu, I'm gonna say ashamed to admit it, a champion with like basically no mechanics. It's not an impressive thing if you can hit 1Q and press R. I think that I've never seen an Amumu one-trick pipe up, basically. Like, nobody's ever like, yeah, I'm the rank 1 Amumu on Earth. Like, I think you ought to respect me, okay? No, nobody, everybody understands. Amumu, very, very simple. A child can play Amumu. A child is Amumu. It is what it is. Anivia, surprisingly toxic. I think this is a long, complex cycle of having trouble in lane because they're trying to scale. Maybe they get camped. Maybe they get killed. They lose their egg early. And then they're frustrated because their champion takes a long time to get ticking. Their champion takes a long time to get working and rolling. And as such, they tend to lash out a little bit. I'm torn between happy to have them and chill. Maybe we put chill. Let's like even everything out. Now, here's a tough one. Aphelios, man. Aphelios. The thing is, I've basically run into no Aphelios mains. Or like Aphelios one tricks. And I'm like, is it because they're ashamed to, you know... I think a lot of the AD carries are going to end up here because, like, I think Ashe also surprisingly toxic. Once again, similar to Anivia, like they take a lot of crap in lane and they kind of lash out. Aurelion Sol, like I'm happy to have somebody that mains Aurelion Sol. I don't think I've ever had an issue with like an Aurelion Sol player or Aurelion Sol main. I'm hovering between chill and happy to have them, but I think I'm happy to have them, to be honest. Like, I've never had any issues. Same with the Zir players. Bard, I'd say chill. Blitzcrank as well. Happy to have Blitzcrank mains. Love to see him. You absolutely love to see him. Brand one tricks. It's maybe a little bit stereotypical. That I'm being surprisingly toxic. I don't think I'd put them in the Yasuo or below tier. But certainly, like, your whole point is flaming, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Braum as well, you're gonna hate me for this, right? I think Braum mains are surprisingly toxic. Like, I think it's incredibly ironic that somebody who plays Braum is, like, actually super, super angry. You're gonna notice that, like, a lot of the surprisingly toxic tier list is just supports. It just comes with the territory, right? So, like, maybe, like, surprisingly fine. Camille mains. Absolute baby ragers if they lose playing a champion that like absolutely hard abuses topside. If you have the audacity to play it with a Camille that ends up losing lane, you're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a bad time. I'd say like given the mechanics that are required to play Cassiopeia, surprisingly fine for the other types of champions that have high mechanics that require like a lot of skill. Dude, I'm almost like ashamed to admit. I honestly think that like I don't think I've ever met like a Cho'Gath that is like I'm a Cho'Gath one trick. But if it wasn't ashamed to admit it, I'd be like either chill or happy to have them. To be honest, I love to see them on my game. Corki, dude, they are like they're mad. They go 0-6 in lane and they get super angry. They're start below for sure. Like Corki like sucks until like 25 minutes into the game, and I've never seen a Corki play with that in mind, for sure. Darius is a pretty big no-brainer here. For some reason attracts the dumbest people, like legitimately. Like I mean, no, I'm not saying that people that one trick him are like unintelligent, but like they're the kind of person to go like 0-4 in lane and then get 1 kill off a jungle gank and type easy in chat. So I think they're like Yasuo or below. I also genuinely think that like Diana belongs here too. The kind of person that picks a champion that was like an insta win level 3 and then if it goes badly, they just lose it. They absolutely lose it. Same with that Draven. I think I don't even need to explain this one. Mundo, surprisingly toxic, I'd say. I honestly, my experiences recently with Mundo players, because Mundo's kind of come back into fruition, have all been like incredibly poor. Surprisingly toxic. I actually maybe like hovering between the two of these, to be honest. I made one video called Why I Hate Echo as a joke. It was very satirical. Echo community did not take it well, and I haven't forgiven them for it since. So I'd say like, yeah, we'll go for Yasuo or below. That's right, Echo community, I see you. You shouldn't have been mean to me like 5 years ago. In 2015, no, 6 years ago actually. I don't know if it's fair to Elise players, but I also don't think it's surprising when they're toxic. You know what I mean? Like Elise is really, really super strong right now. I think a lot of people that play her know that. Well, maybe, you know what? I honestly, I don't disagree. I honestly think that maybe we need a new one. Maybe coin flip toxicity. I think maybe we could maneuver this a little bit actually. So many gnomes, yeah, no, for sure. Got a couple of gnomes there, baby. Evelyn, most certainly. God, Glacier's rated, and now we're gonna have a whole lot of dangerous opinions in my chat. what would you put Garen as? Based on Glacier. Let's base on what your opinion is on. Garen is a coin flip. I'm coin flip as hell. Right, we'll take it from the man himself. Garen has been put into coin flip by Glacier's regards. I could see that, to be honest. It was a tough one, I think. From my experiences, I think maybe like surprisingly fine. No, but you might get flamed by Ezreals, but I'm talking about the people that one-trick these Ezreals. Like, they had like 500,000 mastery points on them. We're not talking about like your common or house guard and Ezreal. Let's get it clear. If you like, for instance, Aatrox is surprisingly fine. I think your normal, if like somebody who's got like 10 games on Aatrox, is usually quite toxic. Fiddlesticks coin flip as hell for sure. Future Famine Champ for sure sucks early until like they have like Zhonya's and another item. It can turn a man into a monster for sure. However, if they have a solid early and they're actually pretty good, they tend to be like really, really valuable members of the team. You can't really get much more coin flip than that, to be honest. Fiora, am I crazy for putting these two here? I'd say like maybe surprisingly toxic. I don't know if she deserves Yasuo tier, but Fizz I think does belong around here. I'm being generous to Fiora right now. Galio, honestly, like I'm feeling ashamed to admit it. I don't think you quietly play games of Galio. You don't go like, hey guys, look at this, I had a crazy game. Like Galio, I mean, like they're chill. I like having them, but like I don't know. I like having a Galio, but like I very ever rarely meet people that are like, I am a Galio main. I love Galio. Galio gaming is my favorite type of gaming. And this is not an insult, by the way. I like having an Amumu in my team. I love having a Galio in my team. But it's a case of like, do they ever come out of the woodworks to like, you know, be like, hey, I made it. Ivern, Ornn, Maokai, like tank champions. People just don't tend to like admit that they main those characters, really. Now, Gangplank, this is going to be a tough one. Because like, I'm tempted to put it here because Testo's in my chat. But I don't know. I think maybe like we let Testo decide. I think if Testo's saying they're coin flip, GP mains are whiny, but I don't know about toxic. Once again, similar to Camille, they pick their champion based on the concept that they will win lane, and if they do not win lane, they will throw a tantrum the likes of which you have never seen. It is indescribable the baby rage that will emanate from a Gnar main when they, on their 800th game of Gnar, they lose to like a Garen or something. Gragas, I'm like, I'd say chill. It really does come down to like the type of champion it is. So like Graves has got this like, I'm gonna bully the hell out of you. Gnar's got this, I'm gonna bully the hell out of you. I'm gonna bully you. I'm gonna bully you. But it all comes down to whether or not they do well in lane, right? If anything goes wrong for Graves, my god, you are in for a treat. Hecarim, honestly, I'm happy to have them, to be honest. Like I'll be real, like I love to see a Hecarim in my game with a lot of games. The feeling that I get when I see somebody who has got like 400k on a Hecarim in my solo queue game is like, thank god, like good, we have got something here, someone who knows what they're doing. Heimerdinger, chill or happy seeing them, because I know that lane is gonna be fine. Some Heimerdinger with a bunch of games, I'm like, that lane is gonna be fine. Yeah, maybe he's not gonna win, he might not like pull ahead that much, but he's probably like, he's not gonna like totally, he's not gonna totally end it, right? I think Illaoi mains are surprisingly fine, or maybe ashamed actually, possibly. I think like if you play Illaoi, you are a certain type of person. Aurelia, straight into the Yasuo tier. Ivern, ashamed to admit, no doubt in my mind. Janna, surprisingly toxic. For a champion that literally just, like, and this is coming from somebody who's like, my third highest mastery is like Janna. Like, I understand that when I play Janna, I'm not doing much, right? Maybe I'm zoning with Zephyr, or I'm pressing E, or like doing some knockups. But like your common or house guard in Janna main is like legitimately like subterranean IQ for the most part. Like, and across the, if you take the median of like every single Janna main on Earth and what ranks they're in, they take a lot of credit for pressing one button. I'll tell you that much. They will press E on you once in a fight, Mr. Tornado, and Q a minion, and they'll be like, why did you die? They will monsoon people into you and then be like, dude, stand in my heel. Dude, what are you doing? Jarvan, honestly, I love to see them. I love to see them. I mean, I guess it depends if you're a Duskblade Jarvan or if you're a tanky Jarvan. I think the tankier Jarvans are the chill guys, the cool guys that will lend you a $5 to get home at the end of the night when you don't have enough money, and the people that build like full lethality are degenerates. Jax, I think it's coin flip, to be honest. I'm like, I've had some good experiences with Jax mains, and some Jax mains are like legitimate dribblers. I don't know, like they just are insane, I think. Jace, dude, do people main Jace? Like, let's be real here. I think I very rarely ever experience a Jace main, so I'm gonna go ahead and say ashamed to admit it, because I don't ever see them. Here's, right, so I'm gonna make a move here, right? So Jhin, Jinx, and Kai'Sa, we're gonna go boom, boom, boom. I'd say maybe boom as well, actually. For some reason, like, my experiences with Jinxes have always been like, if they are one trick, they tend to be like a little bit like uppity. Kalista's, I'm putting in Yasuo below. I don't blame Kalista mains for this. Let me say this to all of the 3 Kalista mains of the world watching this. I don't blame you. I don't like. I'm sorry for the fact that a small gust of wind stops you from auto attacking. You are a product of your circumstances, but you do turn into monsters. But it's not your fault. Karma, surprisingly toxic, I think. I like to have them on my team, but they are toxic. Kai'Sa one tricks are so horny, it's so weird. I feel like Karthus could go anywhere. The amount of freaking, the guy is all over the spectrum. I've seen Karthus's be like, hey, it's fine, I scale. And I've seen Karthus lose their minds that they invade early and die because they're Karthus. You know what I mean? So, like, I feel like coin flip is the only real true place to go for that one. Kassadin players are monsters. I've played a lot of Kassadin. I can attest to this. They are complete monsters. Like, legitimately. Katarina also, monsters. Like, legitimately, I have banned multiple times Katarina just because I don't want to have to deal with somebody who gets the notion that they want to play Katarina. As a champion that gets BT, its sole purpose is to get BTFO'd pre-6. Like, they're fine. They tend not to talk, I'd say. They're too busy trying not to die. Anybody contesting this? Yes or no? Anybody contesting this particular maneuver that I just made? Not really, no. Not a single person is like, hold on a minute here. Hold on a minute. This, you're not, nope, not a single person is actually contesting. Okay, yeah, we're agreed then. That's very good. Very nice, very nice. Lovely, love to see it. Kennen. I think ashamed to admit. I think a Kennen player, somebody who plays range top, generally should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed of themselves. If they're not already, if you're somebody who plays a lot of Kennen, you should be ashamed of yourself, nevertheless. Kha'Zix, yep, pretty up there with being very, very toxic. Also, honestly, Kindred as well. I think like both are like super duper like, I win jungle or we lose the game. Those are the only 2 options. Help me with everything, otherwise it's over from here. For the most part, like I'd say like surprisingly fine. Like I don't think I ever have an issue with Kleds. Maybe even chill, which is really ironic considering he is a ball of furry fury. Playing Kog'Maw in 2021, like I don't remember the last time I ever saw a Kog'Maw main, to be honest. I'd say like surprisingly toxic. I'd say Lee Sin is in the Yasuo or below of toxicity. Leona also surprisingly toxic. And then Lissandra, I'm like, I think coin flip maybe. Leona does a lot of work, but like also I think that they're the kind of champion, the kind of people that are straight into like, why didn't you kill him? I stunned him 3 times, even though the fight was not set up correctly at all. And I just like, I eat into like 3 full minion waves. Why did you not kill him? What's your problem, brother? What's your problem, buddy? You play top or mid Lucian. You know, I don't think you would ever admit that you do that, right? Whereas, like, you'll be like, somebody might be like, I'm a Lucian main, but they forget to put like the addendum of like in brackets, like I play Lucian mid or I play Lucian top, which makes you a horrible person. But beyond that, I mean, I don't even think it's necessarily surprising, but I think like, you know, they might be like down in this general region, to be honest. Honestly, like, I feel like maybe I want to change my mind and put Janna down here, to be honest. Like, Janna players, they're just degenerates, man. Like, for real. Like, these 2 are the 2 of the 4 horsemen of bot lane that are just very angry. For, like, literally no reason. Malphite, ashamed to admit it. Malzahar mains, in my experience, surprisingly fine. Maokai, ashamed to admit it, 100%. You belong down here, my friend. Misfortune, I feel like I'm biased on this one. Like, I don't think they're one way or the other necessarily. I think maybe like coin flip, to be honest. Yeah, I've played a lot of Misfortune, and like experiences from other Misfortunes are like, it could go either way. Like it depends, because like a lot of the, presumably a lot of the anger just comes out of like playing into tanks is misfortune, or playing into lots of assassins is misfortune. So it's all like a lot of the same issues that most AD carries are faced with. Mordekaiser, I think just totally coin flip, to be honest. Morgana, I'd say like surprisingly toxic. Nami, I'm like a little bit like not necessarily though. Honestly, I think maybe coin flip did, to be honest. I've met some toxic Namis, but I've also met some very nice Namis as well. Nasus. Maybe it's because of tricking all those boys. I like Nasus on my team. I don't mind him at all. I will say Nautilus, love to see him. Maybe just recently, but I've had quite a few experiences in solo queue with Nautiluses. We haven't necessarily done well, but the Nautiluses have like been like very like, it's okay, man, we can do this. It doesn't matter. Like, we just play for team fights, etc. And I've been like, Nico, like, I'm fine. I'm chill with them. I don't necessarily. I think they're pretty fine as a community on the whole. Like, I never have any major issues with them. Nidalee, I'd say coin flip, to be honest. Like, she's like the definition of a coin flip champion, I'd say. Nocturnes, I'm almost like surprisingly fine. They generally have one job, they know their job, and then it is they kind of are what they are. Like, people that play Disco Nunu are not mains, right? You're not a Disco Nunu one-trick pony, right? We're talking about people that actually enjoy playing the champion and like are mains of the character because they enjoy the mechanics of the character, right? And what those mechanics say about the person. And like, I'm inclined to say that they're chill. Well, like, for like, this is people that one-trick the character. Olaf, say like surprisingly fine. Surprisingly fine. I'm actually usually happy to play with Orianna. If you're playing Orianna, you losing lane a little bit early doesn't tend to mean that much to you. And it's also a champion that when they miss their ulti, yeah, you know, right? So they tend to shut up. Like, you don't play a champion with an ulti that when you miss it, everybody question mark pinks you and flame, right? You keep your mouth shut and you just don't speak. And that's totally fine. Ashamed to admit it, Ornn, for sure, 100%. Pantheon players, one tricks, I have had no bad experiences with. And this isn't even me necessarily speaking from like a Pantheon thing, but like, I guess I'd say probably coin flip, because I think you could probably drop the bag a little bit if they lose lane. Once again, I'm not taking myself into account for this, and I'm trying not to like be like, this is what I would do. I'm trying to think like the one trick Pantheons that I've seen in my games. Poppy, pretty fine. All they want to do is bash people into the walls. I'm not trying to say that Poppy players aren't weird people anyway. So this is going to be an easy one, right? So like these, yeah, this is just going bang out right here. That's a triple threat right there of just horridity. It's an oof, but it is true, I would say. Quinn players are nice. Actually, you know what? You're right. Ashamed to admit it. Who actually wants to admit they play Quinn in 2021? No, not a single person. Nobody wants to admit to it. I think I've met Rakans that are toxic as hell, but like, see somebody that like knows the champion. I really love to have a Rakan on my team that knows how to play Rakan. But like, I wouldn't put them as chill, but I'd say that like my experience with Rakan mains has been fine. Rammus mains as well. Like, I'm like, I love to see him, to be honest. I love to see him. People that one trick Rammus, they have one thing on their mind, and it's to ruin the enemy ADC's game. That's where they get their enjoyment. Rek'Sai mains, I've only ever met one Rek'Sai main. He was pretty chill. You know, Rek'Sai means like they never speak, dude. Like, people that play Rek'Sai, I feel like they never talk. Renekton, and also this. Oh, there's Kayn again. We got different forms of Kayn. We'll put all three of them down there. Oh, and Revan. Let's go. Shadow Assassin just Kayn. That's kind of pointless, but okay. Yeah, wait, Willem's here. Well, I guess Willem's going up there with Nunu. Okay, this is a weird tier list, but it is what it is. This guy, this Nunu, he's a toxic little, right? But Willem, he's love to see him. You know what? I'm gonna keep Willem and love to see him. I do love to see him. Like, you have one job as Rumble, and it's to make the enemy top laner's life like a misery, right? But you never see Rumbles anymore. But like, when you do see them, they are freaking crazy. By the way, ashamed to admit it is by no stretch me saying they're bad. I just want to reiterate that. Like, I love to see this. I love to see this. I'd love to see this, whatever, right? I'd tell you what, dude, I've had really good experiences with Ryze one tricks recently. However, I understand that that's probably not the opinion of everybody else. I'm gonna put him in a coin flip. Sejuani, like, I'm kind of like, I love to see him, to be honest. Senna, surprisingly toxic, honestly, I think. Yeah, honestly, like, a Malphite is not tilted in a game, provided he can get some big ultis off. If he can just ulti people, even if nobody dies, I think for the most part, people are like, Malphite one tricks are of the mental caliber that they're like, I hit 3 people. Let's go. Like a 9-year-old Fortnite player. Like they just hit a sick flicky like ninja. They hit a 4-man ulti. They're like, let's go. Dopamine, brother. Yeah, that's literally Malphite. That's what I do when I play Malphite. I played Malphite in ranked like the other day, and I was like so bored in lane. I was just like, I'm gonna throw cheese at the enemy top laner until. But then the game got going, and I was like, it's time for dopamine. It was good fun. The dopamine was good fun. I'd honestly think coin flip, to be honest. Shaco, like, psychopath champ, for sure. Like, unironically, like, genuinely, Yoker. Oh my god. Shen mains, dude, like, love to see him. You're too busy looking across the entire map. Like, you're too busy scanning. You're hitting F1 through F5 like a billion times, like Faker scanning through his team. You're a different breed of person, man. You're playing, you're literally operating as a tactical UAV. You're not even playing as a human being. Shyvana, surprisingly toxic, actually. They're useful for 40 seconds every like 2 minutes. They can be quite angry, honestly. Singed, like, chill. Even when they're doing badly, Singed mains do not care. Like, I'm not necessarily loving to see them, but I think they're like some of the chillest beings on earth. They're stoned almost all the time. They have absolutely no interest in anything of this mortal realm. They're just like, it is what it is, man. I made a video called Why I Hate Singed as a joke, like during when I was doing the Why I Hate series, and they posted it on the Singed community, and the Singed was like, yeah. The entire Singed community was like, yeah, that's why I love Singed. Yeah, man, Singed is so fun. Might go play Singed. So yeah, I very much love the Singed community. Sion. I think honestly surprisingly fine. It's weird, it's a champion that when you die, you get to have arguably more fun than when you're alive. When you die, you're like, time to go in, dude. And then you're just pounding people to death. When a champion's passive is literally to die, it's hard to be tilted when you die sometimes when you're playing it, right? Sivir? Who plays Sivir, dude? Let's be real. Skarner? You'll love to see him. They're complete and utter meme lords, dude. They have absolutely no regard for human life. They're like the inverse of like the Yoker. They like will do everything in their power to drag the most inconvenient person halfway across the map, and I love to see it. Sona, I think nobody's gonna argue. Surprisingly toxic. Soraka as well. Presses W like 3 times in lane. Suddenly thinks she's Colonel Gaddafi, man. Like, come on. It is a champion that's like, I pressed W and you didn't kill him. What is the deal? But I pressed R2. Well, I was ignited, dude. So, like, you know. Well, you're bad at ADC. Swain mains, like, I'd say, like, surprise. Like, Swain one tricks are surprisingly fine. It's almost like you're sucking the enjoyment out of other people to give it back to you. Like, even if you're having a bad game, you hit, like, 1E, and the other team is just like, I'm not having any fun. I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. And then you're, like, sucking up all their unenjoyment. Sylas, say, like, Yasuo tier. Syndra, I'd say chill. I don't think I ever have any issues with Syndra players who are one tricks and main the character. Like, I'm totally comfortable with having them on my team. Damn Kench! You'll love to see him. You'll love to see him. I don't know what to say. Talia, presumably ashamed to admit it. Talon, of course. I think, honestly, Tyrik's surprisingly toxic. I'd say, like, they're near the top of this list. Like, they're breaching into coin flip. Teemos, I think, like, totally surprisingly fine. They are just trying to ruin someone else's day. They're too busy with that. I think coin flip, to be honest. The coin flip comes when they hit a hook or not, really. Or if they hit a good hook or a bad hook. That's really the defining factor of whether or not Thresh is going to lose his mind and go down to here or be up here. Tristana. My experience with Tristana mains has been actually surprisingly fine. A lot of the time, if they W badly in, they're like, they're like, I shouldn't have done that. If you're actually like a Trundle main, like, I'm just like, what do you care? What do you stand for? What do you stand for? Tryndamere, not as coin flip as Thresh, but he's up there, dude. Maybe even hovering towards surprisingly toxic, to be honest. But like, I think we could put him there. TF, surprisingly toxic as well, I'd say for sure. Twitch, right into the Yasuo tier. Udyr remains, I love to see him. Like, this is all personal opinion, man. But like, the Udyrs, they just fucking run around. They just run around and they don't give a shit. They don't care, man. Just. I think the ulti is what saves Urgot from being a tiltable character. I think that, like, you can do kind of meh on Urgot, but like you put your ulti on somebody and you get a pick and you're just like, hey, life is good. Varus. Now Vayne, I'm just gonna sort that out here. Like, yeah, Vayne straight down there. I think that's an undisputable one. Yeah, like she's 100%, you know, living in that region. I think you're probably ashamed to admit you play Varus because I Zed coughs at you and you just melt. Like I think Veigar, like once again a champion that like maybe derives a lot of pleasure from screwing people over. I do love to see him. Like, don't get me wrong, but like that's for the actual people that play him. They just stack and they just stack and they just want to stack. So you know, I'm gonna put it in there. Vel'Koz as well. Like I'd say like pretty like fine. All they want to do is hit those Qs. That's all they seem to ever focus on. I like having Victors on my team. I really like having Victors on my team. Would I say that I would love to see them? I don't know. I feel like maybe he's a bit of a coin flipper though. Vise, yeah, surprisingly toxic for sure. Vladimir, I'd say like surprisingly fine for a champion that doesn't necessarily do well early. I'd say generally not chill, but yeah. But that being said, I would put the bear up on there. I think there's a certain caliber of low intelligence person that plays Warwick. I play a lot of Warwick, by the way, but like I'm hovering between like the top of the tier list here. I'd say like surprisingly fine. Wukong, for sure, no doubt in my mind, a coin flip, like a legitimately coin flip character. They're either very chill, like just eating banana, throwing poo, or somebody steal banana, which is gold in League of Legends case, and they are freaking go nuts. They absolutely go wild. Xayah's a hard one, man. I don't think I've had like crazy bad experiences with people that main Xayah. But I think a lot of that is just like the champion itself is like, I don't want to get one shot, and I am playing Xayah because I don't want to get one shot. Xerath is like living in either surprisingly toxic or Yasuo and below for me. But this isn't to say that they don't do a lot in lane. Xerath do a lot in lane, but they are very quick to remind you that they're the ones that are doing all the damage. I'd say like Xin Zhao is either like, I'm gonna like 1v9 or I'm gonna just end, and it couldn't be more coin flip. Yasuo going straight in there into the Yasuo tier. Yorick, I think they're pretty chill. I think they have no interest in anything other than pushing. They don't want junglers to gank. They don't care if the enemy jungle ganks. They just want to get 6, press R, and then walk towards the enemy tower and see what happens. Either they die, the enemy dies, the tower dies. They do not have any interest in anything else. That's it. Yuumi, oh my god. Bottom of the tier. Even, yeah, I mean, really, this should be Yuumi or below. Dear god. Unbelievable players that play this character, man. People that one-trick Yuumi into high elo and have this bizarre sense of, like, I have earned this elo. Are delusional beyond any comprehension. You know what? I can understand that when you're playing a champion that relies on other people to do everything for you, where you could get pissed off with people that are not doing the things that you want them to do. However, if you're somebody that has an issue with that, with you not doing anything and having other people do stuff that you haven't got any interaction with, play Bard. Like, play a champion that like has that is active. Zax, dude, they don't care, man. I swear they don't care. Love to see him. Zed straight in the Yasuo pit. Honestly, surprisingly toxic from Ziggs players, I reckon, and also Zilean players. I think maybe Zoe players are maybe slightly ashamed to admit it. Listen, I like having Zilean, but they're like Xerath light. I say you're a coin flip, Zyra, to be honest. Lilia, you're living in coin flip city, baby. This thing's quite bottom heavy, really? Like, ashamed to admit it doesn't mean that they're bad. I say this is actually a top, like, I mean, like, realistically here. So, like, it's actually, like, not, it's maybe a little bit more slightly skewed to the bottom, but I don't think it's badly skewed to the bottom. Why are they ashamed to admit it? Because, like, they just do very little and then press R in fights and they're just like, yeah. Samira, I'd say, surprisingly fine. That's gonna change. This is subject to change. When those nerfs go through on Samira, we're gonna see her go, ooh, right down here. Surprisingly toxic, I'd say Rel. Surprisingly, honestly, Seraphine players, man, they need to shut up. They need to stop talking, man. I'm sick of them. I am genuinely sick of them. They are so lippy. They got a lot of this going. Beep, 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 beep. I can't stand her, man. Yone though, I think he doesn't belong with. I don't think he's on Yasuo tier. I think they're a higher breed of person, to be honest. I'd say maybe arguably coin flip. I don't even think they're like necessarily that bad, to be honest. Legitimately, like, they're certainly, like, above Yasuo on my bad experience list. So yeah, that's her full tier list. That's my full tier list, I should say, of every champion in League of Legends up to not Viego though. You put 70% of my champs in coin flip. I think. Wait, listen, dude. Like, hold up. Pantheon, Miss Fortune, Janna. Dude, Janna is in literally Yuumi or below Yasuo tier. Pantheon and coin flip, and then like she's in coin flip as well. Even my own characters that I play a lot are not safe from scrutiny. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading, if this ever goes on YouTube, all the comments about how wrong I am. So let me know. But you have to subscribe first.